guys, today is our first nutritional seminar for our Level Up 6-week lean muscle building program, and today's topic is going to talk about your HEC. It's an acronym for your hunger, H, your energy, E, and your craving. So it's all about keeping your HEC in check. Now, this is a model that's based upon being your own sort of body detective, hunger, energy, cravings detective, and also it's kind of more based on your hormones versus the traditional diet models out there. Now, for decades, we've been taught that the way to lose weight and lose fat is to exercise more and eat less. Sorry about that, my kid's going crazy. So yeah, traditional models say exercise more, eat less. And this kind of sets you up for failure, for a crash and burn cycle. And some of you out there have been through a lot of different dieting phases and different dieting models, and you kind of always come back to the same thing where it maybe gives you results and then you stall. And then you figure out you have to do more, eat less. You have to exercise more, eat less. And then you get a little bit more results and then you stall and then you have to do it again. So this is a crash and burn cycle. So the hormonal based philosophy is to basically check in with your hunger, your energy, and cravings, and to ask yourself that, is your HEC in check? So I want you to think about that. Now, hunger is, there's hunger where you have physiological hunger, and technically if we exercise more, it is just physiologically that we're going to be more hungry. Then that's when your energy comes into play. So you might notice that if you expend more energy, you are more hungry. If you expend less energy, you are less hungry. And then the cravings is a whole nother end of it. Cravings do not depend upon hunger physiologically based at all. Cravings are just something you crave that could be based upon what's going on with you in terms of stress, hormones, etc., etc. So if we can look at this HEC and keep your HEC in check, that's kind of where we can find a more sustainable lifestyle of eating. So with that being said, there's a couple of tips in terms of how do you handle the craving. So that was the biggest question amongst some of your goals that people have listed in terms of wanting to control their sugar intake, cut down on the sweets, portion control. So I think instead of trying to cut out on those specific things, like you thinking you're eating too much sweets or you're eating too much food, let's reverse engineer that and think about how are we ending up like that. Usually when we have cravings, it's because our hunger, energy, cravings is out of whack or it's out of check. And usually when cravings come, it's either perhaps everybody's different, but perhaps maybe you didn't have that much protein that day, or your fat intake is really low, or you decide to restrict most of the day before you ate your first meal, or you're intermittent fasting, or it's the time of the month. Usually when we get into these cycles where if you say you're eating way too much sugar at one time, or you feel like you're uncontrollable snacking, or that you are eating big portions, it's because something else is missing throughout the day that's leading us to that point. It's not because you don't have willpower, or you just can't be satisfied, or you don't have discipline. It has nothing to do with that. So if we can maintain your energy balance throughout the day, then those cravings at night will be a lot better. So I want you to think about that in terms of the next week, is just thinking about your hunger, your energy, and cravings, and begin to journal down if you find anything interesting in your hunger. Now, a lot of you are doing different types of eating styles. Some are intermittent fasting, some are just eating regularly. So if you do decide to journal, if you notice anything noteworthy in terms of if you're intermittent fasting, how do you feel? Those are important notes because, again, everything is based upon what's happening inside of our bodies and our hormone, which kind of leads to this hunger, this energy, this craving. So with that being said, if you can take notes, that'll be very helpful. So how do you handle, the biggest question we had for this, for going on to this first week, was how do we handle the cravings? So here's some really amazing methods for crushing the cravings, okay? Crushing the cravings. So the first one is fiber. So adding a fiber supplement, like a low calorie snack between each of your meals, can help stop hunger, can help curb cravings, and then overall can improve your fat loss. So basically, when you start to add fiber, you kind of first got to figure out if your digestive system can handle it without causing like increased gas and bloating. So things like Metamucil supplementation, drinking a fiber powder, any of that can help. Now, fiber is a bulking agent, so it means it expands when you eat it. So by just including it, the nature of that food, that fiber supplement, will actually make you feel full because it's expanding in your stomach as you're digesting it. That's why it's very careful, that you have to be very careful that your digestive system can handle it. The second tip to crush your cravings is actually cocoa powder. A lot of people don't know this, but cocoa powder, cocoa powder, so COCOA, you slowly pour hot water over pure, unsweetened baking cocoa powder in a mug, and you keep stirring so that it won't clump. And that is like one of the best tools that you can do to stop your cravings, especially for women during like your time of the month. So Dr. Jade Tita and Dr. Keone Tita, they do this. They wrote this great book called Lose Weight Now, which is basically looking at your hormonal panel to make food and nutritional recommendations. And in their studies, they have found that this is a super effective tool, that if you do cocoa powder in water, and again, unsweet baking cocoa, not like cocoa with the marshmallows, but it's pure unsweetened baking cocoa with hot water. It has this ingredient called tryptamine. And so sometimes tryptamine can be too stimulating for people. So you have to be very careful in terms of if you're sensitive to stimulate like caffeine or stimulators like that. Like tryptamine is actually a stimulator. So be careful with that. But if you don't have a problem, for the vast majority of us, cocoa is super gentle and it's extremely healthy, and it can more importantly just help with your cravings, so that you can even use it at night, and which would also aid in your sleep. Okay, so the third is lemon water. That's another one. Lemon water is great for adding flavor to your water. If you have trouble getting in a certain number of water per day, you can add like any kind of flavor, cucumbers, strawberries, lemon slices. That also, lemon is also it's alkaline. It's actually alkaline, so it's great for your digestive system, and so you can add that in whenever during meals. Another good craving crusher is tea, black or green or herbal teas, just as long as they don't have sweeteners. You don't want sweet tea. You want a black, green, or herbal tea between meals. It also helps because it has a little bit of that caffeine, so it gives you that extra fat burning kick. Again, so like its counterpart, coffee can actually stimulate this gut hormone that turns off your hunger. So adding cinnamon, adding cocoa to coffee can also increase that effect in terms of turning off your cravings or diminishing your cravings. But you have to be careful, because this is when we negate everything, is when we start to add in like any type of sweetener or milk. It's best to do it black. So if you're using coffee to crush your cravings, it's best to do it black. And again, with anything, be mindful of your individual reaction to coffee, because even though it's a great way to suppress hunger, in the short run, it can also stimulate hunger in certain types of people. Or if you're also sensitive to caffeine, that's another that's something to be careful for. The next craving crusher is water-based veggies like celery, peppers, and lettuce. So water-based meaning they're negative calorie foods. Have you ever heard that where you say, oh, if you can eat celery, it's actually you're actually burning more calories because it has no calories, and your body to digest it requires the more energy than the calories itself in the celery. Well, that is actually true. You know, water-based veggies like celery, peppers, and lettuce, they do have calories. But like we said, because it's believed that the amount of energy it takes for the body to digest these foods is close to the amount of calories in the food itself, that it actually turns out to be like a negative calorie. So whether or not, no one knows this for if this is certain or not, but you eat bucket loads of water-based veggies, and it'll likely have negative caloric effect or impact on your fitness goals or your body goals. Okay, so if you are truly feeling hunger, that the water-based veggies option is a great way to provide that bulk, that fiber that will help shut off your cravings. Another thing a lot of people don't know about is branched chain amino acids, BCAAs for short. That's basically essential amino acids, and they are easily converted into glucose in your body. So which means they stabilize blood sugar. So one of the key amino acids is this amino called leucine. And leucine is what is believed to have effect on the hunger in your brain. So with all of this, taking a BCAA supplement powder, it helps you keep your hunger, energy, cravings in check, but it also is shown to help promote lean muscle gain, or the opposite, prevent muscle loss when you're on a lower calorie diet. So the goal of that is to take 5 to 10 milligrams of BCAA powder throughout the day between your meals. Yeah, so 5 to 10 milligrams of BCAA powder. I take this brand from Thorne Research that I buy on Amazon. My osteopath carries the Thorne Medical Research line. It's a really high quality, clean line. So I take their BCAAs, and it's usually flavored. So I kind of use that as a way to supplement my flavored water, is using the BCAAs. The next craving crusher, low calorie powdered vegetable drinks. I know it doesn't sound super exciting, but it's like the fast food version of the water-based veggies we just talked about, where the powder gives you a little bit, like the same amount of water but a small amount of fiber, and all these phytonutrients that you would find in eating real leafy greens and other vegetables. So if you have problems digesting raw veggies, like myself, I can't eat a whole lot of super raw veggies because of my ostomy, or I have to be very careful on the types of raw veggies I eat. Something like this, where I use a powdered vegetable drink, like green powder. Amazing Greens is a great brand that does like 30 vegetables in one scoop powdered form that I kind of tank every morning. All the rage right now is celery juice, right? A lot of people are doing celery juice. Same thing, except it's not in a powder, it's actual juice. That's an option too. So basically, the same way the water-based veggies work, a low-calorie powdered vegetable drink, it provides the fiber, provides the bulk to help blunt the hunger, and it gives you like a good amount of plant nutrition. So if you're having a hard time getting veggies into your diet, this is a way you can do that. But you want to be sure on the labels, reading the labels, because some of the powdered vegetable drinks out there, they're loaded with like starch and sugar. So what you want to do is, if you're going to opt for a low-calorie powdered veggie drink, you want to look for one that has less than 10 grams of carbs and at least 1 to 2 grams of fiber. Okay, so less than 10 grams of carbs and 1 to 2 grams of fiber. Gang, so that was the list on a couple of things to help with your cravings. Adding a fiber supplement, the cocoa powder in the water, flavoring your water with like lemon, cucumber, strawberries, whatever you fancy, tea, black coffee, eating real water-based veggies like celery, peppers, and lettuce, including branched-chain amino acids into your daily regimen between meals, or BCAAs for short, and then opting for low-calorie powdered drinks. Okay, so those are the helpful tips. Now, my next thing, moving on, is I know you all are like, oh, that's so crappy, like some of those things like fiber, blah, blah, blah. I know. But if you must, you always have your, what you want, like your go-tos. And so what I want to do is teach you the rule of thumb in terms of eating stuff that you may want to eat that will keep your HEC in check, or your hunger, energy, cravings, okay? So this is what you look like. Say this is my go-to. It's a Power Crunch peanut butter cream bar, okay? Power Crunch peanut butter cream bar. And this is the rule of thumb. So you look at the nutrition label, right? Okay, you see the nutrition label there? This is the secret formula. You take the protein, which if you can see is 13 grams. You add the fiber. It has 1 gram. You get that number, protein plus fiber is 14 grams. Then you take the total carbohydrate and you minus the protein and the fiber. So 10 minus 1 gram of fiber minus 13 grams of protein. That gives me a -4 number. -4. That is what you want. The rule of thumb is you want a bar will help keep your HEC in check if you have less than 10. If it's over 10, it's going to spike your insulin, spike your glucose, spike your cravings, and then most likely be stored as fat. So if you have a treat, a bar, a chips, whatever it is, like that's your treat, that's the secret formula. Look, add protein plus fiber, get that number, minus that from the total carbs. You're looking for 10 or less. Negative numbers are even better. So this is a great bar, Power Crunch, that I get on Amazon, peanut butter cream. It tastes like the wafer nutter butter. I really love it. So this has a -4. So when I eat this, I'm okay that if I'm having a craving and I eat this, that eating this won't give me even more cravings. Because how many times does that happen, right? Where you have a craving, you eat the thing, but you still crave more. It's because something is missing in the combination of the food and the ingredients that is not balancing out your chemistry inside your body. Okay, so now for homework, gang. Homework is this. I would like you, if you are working on the nutrition side of your program, you know, it's always optional. So if you are, or if you just want to try out this great exercise, part of this keeping your HEC in check is listing out your 3 DNCs. What are those? Daily nutritional considerations, or daily nutritional commitments. These are 3 things that you're currently doing every day with ease, that are enjoyable food-wise, that keeps you kind of in check with the rest of your day. Like, you know, if I do these 3 things food-wise every day, that my eating is pretty good. So let me give you the other extreme. This is it. If I wake up and I intermittent fast, and then I plan to supposed to have my meal, but then I get busy with calls or clients or training or errands or dogs, and then my intermittent fasting window is pushed back and my meal is pushed back, and then it's like 5 hours past when I was supposed to eat. Now I'm like hangry and ravenous. So now I'm gonna probably eat a lot more than what I had planned to eat, because everything got pushed back. So what I know is if I do these 3 things, that my eating will be more stable throughout the full day. So for me, my DNCs are getting in at least 64 ounces of water. Water keeps me full. If I can get on top of my water from when I wake up throughout the full day and get in at least 64 ounces or 8 glasses, I try to really shoot for a gallon, but gallon is unrealistic, and it's not, I don't want to always feel pressure to have to hit a gallon. For me, 64 ounces is easy. then that keeps me full and satisfied. Another major thing for me is protein. I notice that if I start to have afternoon cravings and I keep eating crap and I keep feeling like I'm not satisfied, I kind of look back to my food log on MyFitnessPal, and I'll notice that, oh my God, my protein is super low. So I try to eat at least 40 grams of protein with every meal that I have. So by the end of the night, before I go to bed, I at least hit like 150 grams, 160 grams of protein. That is all personal. Your rule of thumb is hitting 100 grams a day, period, for women. I go a little bit higher because I want to build lean muscle mass faster. So that's and it keeps me full. I know protein keeps me full. So that's my second DNC, is making sure I at least get if anything, 100, but really trying to shoot for 150 grams of protein per day. And then my third daily nutritional consideration with my craving side of it is, if I can have a sweet every day, I'm good. Like if I can have a little treat every day, whenever I want it, whether it be a slice of pie, a donut, a piece of candy, an ice cream bar, if I have a little bit of sweet every day, for me, that keeps me in check. That keeps my HEC in check, because I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like I'm white knuckling my motivation and my discipline to not eat the thing. I don't feel irritable because I just want to eat the thing, and I'm denying myself to eat the thing because I just eat the thing, right? So your homework, if you're working on the nutritional side of it, is list down 3 of your DNCs that you do. And again, DNCs are, you're doing it right now. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's enjoyable. So if you're doing intermittent fasting right now for 18 hours, and 18 hours is just like you're suffering the last 2 or 3 hours, and you're just like white knuckling it, and it's like, oh my God, when can I eat? When can I eat? Look at the clock, look at the clock. That is not easy. That is not enjoyable. So maybe you would back off your intermittent fasting, not to 18, maybe back it off to 13, and then go for a little while at 13, and then up it from there. Okay, so that's what I mean. I'm just using an example because that's a good, just an easy example for me to reference. Or if you are trying to avoid all sweets and all sugar because you want to lose a lot of weight, or you want to lose a lot of body fat, and so you're just not going to eat those things. This is what happens. That lasts for so long, right? But then you're craving the thing, and eventually your willpower, your discipline, and your motivation, they wane off because your hormones kick in, your brain chemicals kick in, and then the craving becomes so strong that you end up eating the thing that you crave and beyond, because you've been restricting the whole entire time. So it's better to just indulge and eat the thing you are craving, because all food should be allowed, and all food can be worked in to your daily regimen, right? So again, those were tips on crushing cravings. It was also a little bit of homework. If you have questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. I know some of you had posted about, like I said, portion control and sugar and intermittent fasting. So this is the key, some rules of thumb if you want to try. If you're not doing any exercise at all, if you're exercising less because you're taking a rest day, then you should eat less. 3 meals a day and moderate starch. If you are exercising more on your workout days, your lean muscle building level up days, then of course you want to eat more. You want to eat 4 to 5 meals a day, and you want to make sure that you have moderate starch, because you want to be able to fuel your workout. So it is okay to fast and restrict and kind of go on the low end of the spectrum when you're not working out, because your body is pretty efficient at being able to survive without intense activity. So if you're doing that, I want you to also remember that on your active days, though, you got to fuel your performance. So don't be afraid to eat your carbs and use that energy to go into your workouts, because the last thing we want for you to do is to be sluggish and fatigued and feel weak going into your programs. Okay, so there's timing, right? Starches is not bad. It's just that you want to time it so that you can eat it when you're going to use it. And then the next thing is, how do you tell that if you're losing body fat? So I did post it in our group, but I'll reiterate it here because it kind of is along the same spectrum, where every Friday, or you pick a day like Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, okay? You weigh yourself first thing in the morning after you use the bathroom, before you drink anything, naked. Write down the weight. Get a tape measure. Tape measure right above your belly button. Right above your belly button. Get tape measure of your waist right above your belly button. Write it down in inches. Do that every week, the same day, consistent. Like if it's every Friday you do it, you write it down. Every Friday you write it down. And then there's 3 scenarios, right? I talked about that I posted of what's kind of giving you, can kind of give you the rundown of your results. So if your weight is going down and your waist measurement is going down, you're losing body fat, mostly all body fat. Yeah, because you can lose water weight, you can lose muscle, and you can lose body fat. So weight going down, waist going down, you are losing mostly all fat. If your weight goes up and your waist goes down, which usually this is what happens to me, my weight goes up and my waist is going down, I am losing almost all fat. So I'm losing something else too, like either muscle or water. For me, I'm hoping it's water for me, because I'm eating so much protein to help stave off the muscle loss, right? So that's the second scenario, where weight goes up, waist goes down. Now, if weight goes down, but waist measurement goes up, so scale weight goes down, waist tape measurement goes up, that means you're losing weight, but that weight is not fat. It's probably water weight, or worse, muscle. The hard muscle you work hard to build, that means you're losing some of that. Now, that is the most common scenario we see with the current diet trend of eat less, exercise more. How many times have you seen people go on a diet, on a fad diet or whatever, and they're, oh, in the first week I lost 10 pounds, I lost 5 pounds, or I lost 6 pounds. What do you say? What do you always say? That's all water weight. That's like, no way, that's all body fat. It's like mostly water weight, right? Then they go back to their regular eating, or they fall off the wagon, and then they're back 7 pounds up again, right? So that is not, just because the scale weight goes down, that's not a true measure of success. That's why I don't want you to be fixated on the scale. But this is just a nice, quick and dirty way that you at home can kind of figure out progress body-wise, aesthetic-wise, if you so choose, okay? So if you have any questions, gang, let me know. I hope your Level Up program is going well. Again, you can reach me here, text, email, or also on True Coach by just typing in comments, and you can chat with me, DM on True Coach, and I can adjust stuff if you need to. Again, drop me a comment or question for next week's live nutritional seminar. All right, have a great day, gang. Enjoy your weekend. Aloha.